Omega or Longines? What is the best watch between $2,000 and $4,000? Why is my upload schedule so inconsistent, and what do I do for a living? How can I afford all of these luxury items and watches? Which, well, we'll get into that. And also, how much money do I make here on YouTube? These are just a few of the questions I'm going to answer in this first Ask Me Anything that I posted about 2 weeks ago. And let's hop into it. Now, I'm Chase. This is All Things Random, mostly watch reviews with some random stuff sprinkled in between. I put out, again, that Ask Me Anything. Here are some of the questions. I'm going to be doing it every single month, so look out on the community post. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, just go ahead and look at the link down below. It's all_things_random_AK. Because I live in Alaska, follow me over there. I'll also post one over there once a month. Before we really dive into the video, hit the subscribe button. It's free. It really does help the channel. I will be doing my 15,000 subscriber giveaway with the Tissot PRX in a few weeks. Hopefully, I have a few watch reviews and videos I have to put out before that, and then I will do a review on the Tissot PRX. I'm kind of pushing back my schedule just a little bit because things are a little bit busy. We'll talk about that in the video. But a subscriber giveaway, Tissot PRX, hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel. Let's grow this community. I love it. So the first question that I have here is, what is the best luxury watch between $2,000 and $4,000, and what would I recommend? Well, there's a few questions that first have to be answered, right? Is this an everyday watch? Is this a one watch collection? Because a lot of people out there are doing videos on what is the perfect one watch. Well, there is no perfect one watch, right? If there is one, it would be a Casio G-Shock, right? Or it'd be a Timex Expedition, right? Something ultra affordable that anybody can have, that is semi-durable, and then if it breaks, it's easy to replace. However, that's not what we're talking about. So when I start looking at what is the best luxury watch, I think of what is the best introduction to luxury that's in the mid-tier. And I say that like Rolex is technically mid-tier, but the question specifically was $2,000 to $4,000. So I put 3 watches in this category because it's unfair to just do one. But we're going to start with the most luxurious and go down to the most affordable, which is just slightly under $2,000. So what I would recommend on the higher end is going to be an Omega Seamaster Aquaterra. Now, if you want to buy one brand new, they're about $6,000. However, you can find them on gray market dealers like Jomashop, link down below. I am an affiliate of Jomashop because I buy stuff from them all the time. And I would recommend always using them. They're the only ones I've used other than Exquisite Timepieces and Delray Watch to buy high-end luxury watches over the interwebs. So a place like Jomashop, I've seen the Aquaterra for as low as $4,500, brand new. So my recommendation first is the Omega Aquaterra. The reason why is because that is the luxury watch brand outside of something like Rolex that is known all over the world. Now, I've looked through Chrono24, I've looked through eBay, Jomashop even has pre-owned watches as well, and you can find an Omega Aquaterra from anywhere from $3,000 to $4,500, again, brand new. Used, of course, would be under $4,000, but Omega just has a history that outshines almost anybody else in the market for this price point. And I say that because the history of Omega goes all the way back to the Speedmaster in space. Now, the reason I chose the Seamaster is because it has that classic dress watch that can be dressed up in a stainless steel bracelet, or you can put it on something like a chase strap, vintage suede leather strap, and dress it down. So it looks great in a suit, and it also looks great in shorts and a t-shirt. Now, the Aquaterra can be found in 2 different diameters, the 41 millimeter, which is the slightly larger one, or the 38 millimeter, which is the, I think, almost the perfect size. When I think of a perfect size watch, I think anything from 38 to 40 millimeters. So you're right there on both ends of that 38 and 41. 41 can wear slightly larger. I don't know why Rolex decided to increase their case size, because 40 millimeters, especially for the Submariner, was just a perfect size. Not necessarily a maxi case, but prior to the maxi case, like with my Rolex Kermit, I think the 40mm was a perfect size. But from what I've heard, from what I've read, when I go into an authorized dealer, the 41mm Aquaterra doesn't really wear too big. But if you have a smaller wrist or a medium-sized wrist, mine's 7.25, maybe the 38mm would be perfect for you. Now, not only does Omega have a brand name that's known throughout the entire world, and it does have a little bit of weight behind it because it is Omega brand. And hey, for the longest time, James Bond, yes, he wore a Rolex, but then switched to an Omega.
He smiles and expensive watches. Rolex?
Omega.
Beautiful.
So you also have the fascination with the film industry that loves Omega as well. Now the Omega Seamaster Aquaterra inside has an in-house caliber 8800 coaxial movement, which is beautifully decorated, and it also offers 150 meters of water resistance. Now I always recommend something like a blue dial when it comes to this type of watch, because a black dial is a dime a dozen. You can find them anywhere, and most of the watches on this list are going to be a blue dial or even something like a classier gray dial. Specifically, I chose the blue dial on this. They are easy to find, and you would be hard-pressed to find something better at the price point of $300 to $4,500 than the Omega Aquaterra. Again, the perfect dress watch, the perfect everyday watch. So if you're going to dip your toes into the luxury watch, then get an Omega Aquaterra. Now, if you are looking for the second option on this list of $2,000 to $4,000, I looked long and hard, and I would recommend the Longines Conquest. Now, Longines has been around for a long time as well. Each one of these watch brands has a long history behind them, and nowhere any of these like Christopher Ward that just came out, a couple decades ago. So each one of these have a heritage behind them, and the Conquest is no different. It has a rich history, and in fact, the newer Conquest, they are kind of mixing the new technology with the old aesthetic of the prior editions back in the 1950s and 60s. Now, the Conquest is classically designed and minimal in its display, right? It's a simple three-hander watch. Again, a blue dial or something like a gray dial. And this, just like the Aquaterra, but slightly cheaper because this comes in at $2,000, can be dressed up or dressed down. Now, across this list, I would always recommend getting something like a stainless steel bracelet from the authorized dealer, and then switching out to an aftermarket strap like a chase strap. Now, the reason I say that is because bracelets on their own cost far more than getting it with the watch. I could go buy a Longines Conquest or an Omega Aquaterra with a bracelet for $300 to $400 more in the price point built into the watch itself. So I can buy an Omega Seamaster Aquaterra with a rubber strap for $5,500, we'll just say. Then I can buy the one with the stainless steel bracelet for $5,700, right? A $300 difference. But if I wanted to go buy that bracelet on the back end, it may cost twice as much to buy it separate from the watch. So you might as well just buy it with the watch and then buy an aftermarket strap, because you can find some great straps like chase straps for as low as $30. An Italian calf leather vintage strap on my website is $40. If you want to go even higher in quality, you can find some for around $100, but that's still cheaper than the bracelet on the aftermarket end. And straps are much like clothes, right? We are the watch, the straps are our clothes, and we wouldn't wear the same set of clothes every single day. So dress up, dress down, strap, bracelet. Make sure you buy each one of these watches on the bracelet, get the aftermarket strap. Now, this Longines Conquest comes in at 41 millimeters in diameter and does have an in-house caliber L888. Now, the in-house caliber in this watch is based heavily off of an ETA movement. Now, I would expect that at a price range of about $2,000 and under. It's really hard to find an in-house movement in anything that isn't based off of a prior movement. So this is based off an ETA movement, not really a big deal. However, when I was looking really into it, the beat rate is slightly off compared to what I'm used to. Now, we're all used to beat rates that range from 21,600 to 28,000, and this is slightly different because it has a beat rate of 25,200 vibrations an hour, so it's kind of like an in-between, right? We're used to the 6 ticks a second or the 8 ticks a second, and this is like a 7 tick a second, so it is going to be smoother than a lower beat movement. Something like the Tissot PRX Powermatic 80 has a lower beat movement right at 3 hertz, and this is sort of like the in-between of the low hertz and the high hertz. I thought it was kind of interesting to point that out. Now, that offers a power reserve of 72 hours, which is really great to see on a watch like this. Again, beautiful finishing on Longines. They have a rich history. That would be the second one I would recommend on this list. Now, the last one is going to be the Ball Engineer 3. If you look at these watches across the board, these would be something like a Rolex Oyster Perpetual or a Rolex Day-Date alternative if you want to compare it to a more expensive watch brand. Ball is no different. Now, a lot of people discount Ball watches, and I don't understand why. Because I love the Ball Engineer 3 that I have that I've been wearing every single day religiously. Now, the bracelet, a lot of people argue, is slightly bulky, and I get that. And a lot of people argue that, well, Ball is a watch company with a very, very rich history, but it's kind of fallen to the wayside, sort of like something like Breitling. Breitling is known, but it's really not known for the very high-end watches. And Ball is sort of similar. Ball, however, I would argue is the best bang for buck on this list outside of something like Omega, simply because it has the Omega brand behind it, right? Ball doesn't have as much weight as Omega. However, the rich history when it comes to Ball and being the standard timekeeping since the late 1800s really does, for me, impact my watch collecting because I really do like the rich history behind the brand. Now, the movement inside this watch is cost certified, chronometer certified, and it is based off an ETA movement or a Salida movement, depending on whether or not you get the 25 joule or 26 joule movement. It's kind of funny that you have an option. However, each one is cost certified, and it does say chronometer grade along the dial. The one I have is the Burgundy, and it has the rainbow Marvelite gas tubes around it. And that's one thing too that Ball does differently than any other watch brand is they use the tritium tubes, the H3 tubes, which can be replaced upon servicing, outside of something like standard lume that everybody else does. They're slightly different. The watch, again, is minimal in design, has a date with a cyclops at 3 o'clock. Outside of that, all of these watches have a great water resistance of over 100 meters up to 150 meters, which means they're going to be great all around. Now, the Ball Engineer you can find for as much as $2,500 brand new for the limited edition Engineer 3s, or you can find them as little as $1,600, so actually less than at $2,000. But each one of these brands are Swiss made, carry a strong heritage, and would look great in anything that you wear. So when it comes to everyday collecting, that's what I would recommend when it comes to buying your first luxury watch between $2,000 and $4,000. Heavily recommend that Omega as a number one, save a little bit more money, and then I would get the Ball would be my second one, and then the Longines Conquest. Because I have the Ball, I recommend it as a third option because it is the cheapest one on the list. Now, for the next question, what do I do for a living? Why are sometimes videos inconsistent with uploading, and how do I afford the watches that I have? Because I do have quite a bit of luxury watches in my collection, and let's talk about it. So I am a police officer by trade. I work in Anchorage, Alaska, and I've been doing it for about 10 years. Outside of that, as a secondary duty, I'm a crisis negotiator. So it's my job sometimes to talk people out of situations where they're in crisis, where they could be barricaded in a room with a gun threatening to burn an apartment building down, or I could be talking to someone who's on the edge of a cliff, which we just tackled someone off the edge of a cliff a couple months ago. Or someone could be holding someone hostage. It's my job to talk these people out of these crises so that they can then surrender peacefully to law enforcement outside. Now, the way I can afford all these luxury watches and stuff, and even put money into this channel, because this channel doesn't pay me hardly anything, and we'll talk about that in the next question, is I work a lot of overtime. I work a lot of overtime. In Alaska, we get paid within the top 5 police departments in the U.S., However, we work very hard for our money. For a city of 350,000 people in an area the size of Rhode Island, on the street at any given time, you're looking at 25 officers handling the call stack. Now, in 2017, we were the most dangerous city per capita when it came to homicides. Alaska itself normally is generally the top 5 when it comes to the highest crime per capita with sex assaults almost every single year, with violent crimes, with domestic violence. So we are constantly busy. We can't hire anybody because nobody wants to be a cop. So we all work overtime. Like normally I work every single day except Fridays, which is when I try to do videos, which is why at the beginning of the year I said I'm going to start doing a higher quality video once a week, simply because that's the only day off I have. Now, that being said, I earn my money, right? Like anybody else. And I do it through trading my time away from my family so that I can get a paycheck. That being said, I'm trying to look 10 years ahead and say, hey, where's this channel going to be? Where's my retirement going to be? And I'm trying to work now as much as I possibly can so I can work less in the future. That being said, I do like to treat myself. If I'm working every single day but one day and I'm putting in 10 to 12 hours a day, I have a SWAT call out where negotiators are needed and I'm up for another 6 hours after my normal 10 to 12 hour shift, or I'm working an 18-hour day. You know, I like to treat myself with nice things, right? I like shoes. I also like watches, and I like to buy myself shoes and watches. So that's how I earn my money so that I can afford the watches that I have. You guys notice I got a Cartier Santos de Cartier blue dial. And I did that because, well, I worked some overtime. And I was able to buy that watch, use my credit card, paid it back off within a couple weeks. Really not a big deal. Now, let's talk about the channel and why I really appreciate when people subscribe, watch these videos, which is why I buy something like a Tissot PRX Powermatic 80 Swiss watch. Yes, it is an introductory luxury watch to give away to one of my subscribers. So this channel I've had for 6 years, and for a long time I really did the grind, and I'm almost at 15,000 subscribers. I never thought it would take so much work to get to 15. I hope by the end of the year I can have 20 to 25, but it has been a grind. So a lot of the stuff I've purchased up front, and even the watches today, I'll get some watches in, I'll turn around and try to resell them to you guys. I don't know if you know that down in the description box, it says watches I've reviewed for sale. So if Feast sends me a watch or Alto 8 sends me a watch and I don't feel like keeping it for my own collection, if that watch is valued at $400 and I do a review, I'll normally put it up on eBay for $150 to $200, so half off what you would buy it from them, and then I'll sell it to you guys. eBay takes a lot of fees out of those, so if I sold it for $200, I would probably get $140 in my account, and then I would take that $140 and then try to put it back in the channel towards other watches and stuff to purchase that maybe a company won't send me. Companies send me enough stuff that I can do a video every week. It's really not a big deal. A lot of I've never purchased a watch winder in my life. I don't know why everybody keeps sending me watch winders. It's been a long time since I've purchased a watch other than the Casio watch I reviewed, integrated bracelet, and I did that because I want to do an integrated bracelet video with the Tissot PRX all the way down to a Casio with the IDXO, IXDAO, whatever, engineer right in the middle. That one I purchased on my own from AliExpress. So I have this plan in the future for the channel, and I'm trying to get money from here and there because, to be honest with you, if you look at my average video, it gets about 1,000 views. Some get as low as just a couple hundred. Some can take off, and I have a dive video with scuba gear that has like 350,000 views. Generally, I only make about $400 to $450 a month from Google AdSense. That's not a lot, right? I can go work a couple hours of overtime on one detail, and that would be what I get from here. And when I make a video, it normally takes me about 2 to 3 hours to make the video, to set everything up, to change everything from here, to do macro photography, then change everything again for me to do the intro, outro, or talking portion. And then, I edit everything on my phone so I can do it on the go because I just don't have enough time to sit around and edit on a normal computer. That being said, I really appreciate the subscribers who subscribe to the channel, who stick around, who watch these videos, because I put maybe 20 to 30 hours a month into creating the videos for the content of this channel so I can grow it and reach more in the community. And hopefully I'm bringing you guys value. And I'm doing that on my off days as I'm working every single day outside of that. Now, the reason why a lot of YouTubers don't make any money anymore is because a couple years ago, the partnership between the YouTube creators and YouTube changed. You used to have 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours. Then you could be part of the partnership program, and then you can choose to have ads on your videos. Well, a couple years ago, they changed it. They said, we will put ads on whatever we want, partnership program or not partnership program, whether you're demonetized for this video or monetized. So that allowed every single video on YouTube to now be monetized to YouTube. So normally we'll just say that if a video is monetized from my channel, I would get half of the monetization. YouTube would get the other half. However, if I am a person with 400 subscribers and there's an ad on my video, I wouldn't get anything and YouTube would get it all. So it was a power play to make more money. It is what it is, but most content creators that don't have over 100,000 subscribers normally don't make enough to even pay the bills. So I work more on my job as a police officer so I can keep funding the channel, so I can grow it, so hopefully one day it'll be self-sustainable. Anyway, so that is the first Ask Me Anything. I will be doing this every single month. Again, I'll put a community post out there on the 1st of every month. I'll try to get this out on the 15th. The reason it's the 16th or 17th is because when I was going to do the video, I had a SWAT call out and I had to be called out as a negotiator, and I was out there for 6 hours, so I wasn't able to come in and do the content that I wanted to, that I had planned and scheduled because of that. That's why sometimes the videos are inconsistent, because if I get called in, or I have a recruit that I have to do field training, or I have negotiator training, or I have an overtime opportunity, I'm going to take that because a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Anyway, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.